Welcome to the Color Grid Project Demo, an unconventional take on the color wheel. In this assignment, students will create an unconventional color wheel by drawing and painting a 9-square grid based on a theme of their choice. Students will practice color theory, color mixing, and painting techniques. Students can choose any theme they want, but they should keep it simple. Examples could be an animal, a plant, landscape, some type of symbol, fruit, or any other object. They will draw different versions or compositions of this theme in each of the 9 boxes. The supplies required for this project include tempera paint in the primary colors plus black and white, palettes, paint brushes, a cup for water with paper towel, a piece of heavy-duty paper such as tag board in the size 12 by 12 inches, a pencil, a ruler, and an eraser. The first step is to draw a 4-inch by 4-inch grid on 12-inch by 12-inch drawing paper. Next, students begin to draw within each of the 9 squares they created. They should draw lightly and keep their designs simple. They should also make sure that they can see 4 separate sections or shapes within each composition. To easily see the shapes as they paint, students should trace all pencil lines with black Sharpie and then erase any pencil lines left behind. Now gather your paint supplies, it's time to paint. Students should paint 1 square at a time, and each row should include 1 box with a primary, 1 with a secondary, and 1 with a tertiary color. Within each square, students must include these 4 elements. They should include the pure hue, the main color. They should also include a tint of that hue. Tint means hue plus white mixed together. They should include a shade of that hue. Shade equals hue plus black mixed together. And they should also include the hue's complementary color. The complementary color is the color that's opposite the hue on the color wheel. For example, the opposite of red is green. The opposite of violet is yellow. Remember, craftsmanship matters. Paint neatly and within the lines. As you mix paint, make sure you can clearly see which sections are painted with the tint, the shade, the hue, and the complementary color. You can include multiple versions of each of the 4 elements within each box, such as 2 different versions of tints or 3 different versions of shades, as long as you include at least 1 example of tint, shade, complementary color, and pure hue. Continue to work your way around the box and the design, filling in the entire composition with color. There shouldn't be any white paper left behind when you are finished. Don't forget to also paint the background. If you do leave a white section before moving on to the next color, it's assumed that that section is most likely going to be your complementary color. Here you can see I left the leaves white because eventually when I make green, I will paint those green because the complement of green is red. You'll also notice that I did paint that middle box in with a little section of red because that box will eventually be green, and green's complement is red. Now that I'm finished with the red box, the primary box, I'm going to move down the row. The next part of the row should include a secondary color. The secondary color next to red is orange. To make orange, I mixed yellow and red together. Once I made orange, I scooped a section of the orange off to the side and mixed white in it to get the tint. And I scooped another section of pure orange off to the side and mixed a little bit of black with it to get its shade. The white sections you see me leave behind are going to be the complementary color. Okay, jumping ahead, you can see that I have finished my color grid. Each row has a primary color, a secondary color, and a tertiary color. The final step in this project is to paint a thin black line over all the details within each square. This will make the design pop and will create a nice finish to your project. To get nice, neat lines, make sure you rest your hand on the table for stability. Make sure that you're always aware of where the wet paint is so you don't accidentally rest your hand in the wet paint. Move the paper around so that you can better reach the angles and the lines that you're trying to create. Instead of trying to manipulate your arm to reach those angles, manipulate the paper. Use a thin paintbrush, a steady hand, and liquid paint to create a nice smooth line around all your details. If the paint starts to dry on you, it will create a rough edge. Just add a little bit of water to loosen it and you'll get that nice smooth flow with the paintbrush. Here you can see that I am just painting the flower details. I'm not painting the grid lines, but if you would like to paint the grid lines, you can do that. All right, I'm all finished. Here are some more student examples from this project. Thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe and follow for more lesson ideas.